All right, what's up, guys? Today I want to explore the idea of becoming an entrepreneur after 50. And the reason I want to do this is because I'm amazed at some of the older 20, 30-year-old something guys who are smart as shit making crazy money. And I recently watched this YouTube video. I think it was something like make your first million, something like that. I don't know. But he was talking to a dude who was young and he was pulling in something like 1 to 2 billion with a B a year through his marketing firm. That's nuts, right? But I clicked on the link of the homepage in the YouTube video as I was watching the channel, and I found this other interview of a dude, and he was overseas, and he worked his ass off, and he built this incredible coding program that uses AI, and he was literally sitting in some shitty tea house in the desert working on this thing. This dude, he's now printing $1 million bills that just come out of his ass. So this got me thinking, what does entrepreneurial look like for us old fucks that and does it actually work? Because these young bucks, man, they're doing things that blow the mind, right? But thinking about it, they do the same things I did in my late 20s when I started a business in a field I knew nothing about. My capital was the only truck that I owned. I sold it on the side of a street and went into business. The only thing I owned, sold it, had nothing left, and took the money and started a business. And that business was quickly doing $1 million and grew to over 100 employees in the first year. But could I do it again now, about to be 56? Probably not the same business. But, could I turn around and do something that I make $1 million a year? And which I can't believe I'm going to say right now, but $1 million a year doesn't even seem like that much money when you research dudes that are like making 30, 40 billion dollars. I mean, it seems like pocket change all of a sudden. Not to me, but you know what I'm saying. So what's the goal? Make a constant $100 a month, then go from there. I'm not sure. That's for you to decide on. What's kosher for you. But what I do want to decide is if old fucks like us can make a difference in the business world by starting from scratch. Okay, first, just the facts. Just the facts, man. The numbers, they are surprising. The highest rate of entrepreneurship worldwide has shifted to 55 to 64 age group, with entrepreneurial activity among the over 50s increasing by more than 50% since 2008. I also learned this: a 50-year-old startup founder is 2.2 times more likely to be found a successful startup than a 30-year-old. What about this? A 6-year-old startup founder is 3 times as likely as a 30-year-old founder to launch a successful startup, and 1.7 times as likely to be found a startup that winds up in the top 1% of all companies. That's nutso, right? It's actually 0.5%, I think. But anyway, and the one that's not listed is 5 years after startup, 70% of ventures established by 50 plus entrepreneurs are still operation compared to 28% of entrepreneurs launched by younger entrepreneurs. So this got me thinking, are there any giants we can follow, any path believers? If we were like archaeologists, go out there and look in the sand and we see some footprints that are out there, are there any that are remaining that we can just kind of look at and follow their ranks? So let's check this out. Colonel Sanders started KFC at 62. If you've never learned about this guy, you need to learn about it. This guy was freaking insane. So he was rejected several times and even got laughed at, but Sanders was not one to give up. His perseverance, it's legendary. And the car ride, everything you just got to read about this guy. It finally paid off. And so after 1,000 visits or so, he convinced Pete Herman to become his partner. And legend has it that his idea for making chicken was turned down 1,009 times before he got a thumbs up to even start doing it. He lost his job. This is crazy. He lost his job as a lawyer after a courtroom brawl with his own client before starting KFC. Here's a lawyer walking in. Hey, motherfucker, we're going to fight. And then finally, at the age of 74, Sanders sold KFC for $2 million to a group of investors. So just so you understand, you hear 2 million, you're like, really? KFC sold for that was worth about 16 million in today's. All right. Then we got Ray Kroc, McDonald's at 52. His is an interesting story, not only because of McDonald's, but because of the people that he met along the way. So after World War II, Kroc found employment. He was a mixer salesman, milkshake mixer salesman. That's what he did. For the food service equipment manufacturer, he worked for Prince Castle. And Ray Kroc was 52 years old when he started McDonald's. And this was 16 years after he started his milkshake machine business. And so this is kind of a backstory on Ray Kroc. Ray Kroc lied about his age so he could join the Red Cross during World War One. World War One, where they're going in the trenches and shit. And he drove an ambulance for Red Cross. And so did another young man in his unit by the name of Walt Disney. So Ray Kroc, he was completely wiped out financially after he tipped the cell land in Florida. Hey, I got a bridge for you. And he went back to selling paper cups. That's what he's doing. And he was 25 years old at the time when all that happened. And the concept that became the McDonald's that we know today wasn't even Ray Kroc's idea. The originators were his best customers, the McDonald brothers. Then we move on to Charles Flint, man, at IBM at 61. So in 1911, he formed the Computing Tabulating Recording Company through an amalgamation of stock acquisition of 4 companies. By the time Charles Rowlett Flint was 61, he hadn't even founded the company he'd be most remembered for. He was already known as the Rubber King for founding U.S. Rubber, now Uniroyal, and he held the 1903 water speed record. That was cool. And he continued to serve on IBM's board till he was in his early 80s. Crazy. Then you got Bernie Marcus. Anybody know who Bernie Marcus was? Home Depot at age 50. So after being fired at 50 from his position as CEO of the Handy Dan Home Improvement Company. I wonder how Handy Dan's doing these years compared to Home Depot. Bernie Marcus co-founded the Home Depot. And despite initial troubles, including a flawed promotional stunt, this is crazy. This is what he did. He would go out, give random pedestrians $1 to enter his store. And then since that failed, Home Depot went on to become one of the leading retailers. Who hasn't been to Home Depot and bought something? So originally he wanted to become a doctor but couldn't afford medical school. I think I'd rather find Home Depot. Then Leo Goodwin and his wife, I love this story. They started Gecko at age 50. So despite the risk, Leo and Lillian created Geico because they recognized the military personnel was financially stable group. And they kept their costs low to ensure they could price competitively. By the year's end, they had 12 employees. So the first year they had 12 employees. It gets crazier. They started Gecko during the Great Depression. How do you only get 12 employees during the Great Depression, defying economic odds? And Leo and his wife started Gecko when they were in their 50 years old. Now we see Gecko like everywhere, or Geico, I guess I should say. All right. Here's some surprising success patterns, right? So the failure factor, let's talk about that. The success of serial entrepreneurs come from trying and failing. And every time you succeed, you learn a little bit. And every time you fail, you learn a lot, right? But here's some motivational stuff. Research from Guidance Financial finds that the majority, 40% of entrepreneurs over 50, say that they launched their business because they wanted to pursue their passion, not because they needed the money. And then there was some research that was done by UPS found that 50% of respondents would rather open a small business than retire if money or health were not a factor later in life. And something else that we see, there's some theories on being successful. Let's kind of talk about that just real quick. So here's some success theories, right? Execution over ideas. Young people might have great new ideas, but older entrepreneurs might be better at execution. And then we see connections. In your 50s and older, you have been around longer, you know more people, and those connections might be crucial to developing your business. That could be true. And then access to capital, older people tend to have better credit. I definitely have better credit now than I did when I was 20. All right. So just some other late starters just to kind of, start honing and bringing this in real quick. In 1963, Mary Kay launched her business, and she disrupted everything as business as usual. She actually became the greatest female entrepreneur in American history Baylor University, go Ducks, let's go, right? And then Martha Stewart, right? This is crazy. She started enjoyed a successful career after a fashion model. Did y'all know she was a fashion model? And she was a stockbroker. Do you know she was a stockbroker? You know, the same shit that landed her in jail before starting her first catering business in 1976. And the stats don't lie, man. Data from Harvard shows that the average age of this is crazy. Listen to this. That Harvard shows that the average age of software startup founders is actually 40 years old. It's 47 in biotech space. Everybody thinks, you know, all those guys are all in their 20s. No, 40, 47. HBR even possesses the probability of extreme success goes up with the age until your late 50s. And here's the most unusual fact. Sam Walton, kind of mentioned him briefly, opened the first Walmart. He was 44 when he opened it. While Barney Marcus, the Home Depot dude, you know, he's giving out his dollars on the side of the street. So this is what happened. Ray Kroc and Walt Disney were ambulance drivers together in World War I before their separate paths to success. It's amazing how all those guys just like were intersecting. So what does all this mean for us anyway, and is it even applicable to us today? And this is where I knew how to do kind of a live session on Substack. This would be a lot more fun. I just don't know how to use it in a meaningful way or use it or whatever. But so it, like this podcast, you know, it's meaningful. Yeah, right. I'm like talking to the void right now. Anyway, at the ripe old age of 56, well, that'll be next month, I started Crazy Old Man back in January 6th, 2025, and that was like 117 days ago. And I literally started it so I could write anything I wanted to and not care what others had to say. That's the whole reason I started it. And you see my story, it's a bit of a ride. And I won't even broach it today, but we'll say I spent a good amount of time kind of soul searching and realized there are some things on the back end of life that I want. So is Crazy Old Man, you know, is it a love? Is it a business? Is it an entrepreneurial drive? Let me kind of show you where we're at. I suppose a little bit of both, right? There are things I love to do, research and write, other things not so much, but the greatest joy is the community that's forming around Crazy Old Man. And that's been the surprise of it all. But as you can see, there are people, not a lot, but some that are paying. I grew 2 paid over the last month, 32 new subscribers over the last 30, up 1,000 views in the last 30 days, up $80 last 30, but I really don't pay attention to projection because it don't really mean anything at all. Open rate, I do pay attention to, that's up 6%. And the other thing I try to work on is views, getting in front of more people. I don't really know what views means. I just know I want that number going up. And I'm not very good at it yet, but working on it. Then I kind of got a burr up my ass. And that's not a good thing for an old person. So let's kind of cuss and discuss this one because I did it for a couple of reasons, which I'll discuss later. But I started WordCraft Shots. And it's mainly how to become a better writer. So let's take a look at it. It's much different. I'm not even sure this is a week old yet, but this is the weird deal. I only had 1 subscriber so far, and I'm really struggling with formatting and how to deliver the content. I haven't figured it out yet, but I keep posting even though I'm not comfortable with it yet. And I think I might have it, and we'll see this coming Monday if it lands or not. I don't know. But here's the crazy thing. I only have 1 subscriber, but he's a paid subscriber. So I literally have 1 subscriber, and he's paying. And it's not family, and it's not me. And I'm going to say this right now in the business mindset. There's a writer I admire and respect, been following for almost 2 years now. And he came over from Medium, and he's now on both platforms, and he does really well on Medium. Anyway, he was talking about his members, and which he does a lot. And he had something like 4,000 subscribers subscribing to him. And he's only been here for about 20 or 30 days longer than I have. Keep in mind, he has 98,000 subscribers to his newsletter that he curates over on Medium. So there is that. But anyway, he was thinking it's 4,000. And then he said this. He said, it's a lot harder to get paid on Substack. I want to thank my 4 paid subscribers and been waiting for over a month for my 5th. At first, I was like, bastard. He has so many followers already. That was my first thought. Then I stopped and I thought, Would I rather have a zillion followers than a few subscribers, or the other way around? So the entrepreneur in me, and look at it like this. So let me show you something. Person one, 4,000 followers, 4 paid subscribers, conversion rate, under a percent. Person two, 108, 1 followers, 8 paid subscribers, conversion rate for basically 4%, 4.5%. And this shows that person two has 44 times higher conversion rate than person one, despite having far fewer followers. So you could present this in a lot of different ways, right? Person two converts at 4%, following, to the, under a percent. Person two is 44% more effective at converting followers to paying customers, or 1 in 23 of person two's followers pay compared to only 1 in 1,000 for person one. So this kind of highlights that audience quality engagement often matter more than raw follower counts. So keep that in mind, regardless of whatever you do, right? You don't want people just coming in your store. You want somebody to buy something from your store, right? And it goes back to what floats your boat, right? I mean, come on. We all know that dopamine hits, they feel so good. 4,000 followers, man, I'd feel pretty fucking good about myself. And my subscriber count, man, on my end, it's really fickle. It's kind of like a woman going through menopause, right? And young bucks, just wait, man, because it's coming. But, I'll go 4 or 6 days with crickets. They'd get 2 subscribers in a day. I don't understand it. Probably don't want to understand it. But it comes back to, what are you chasing, I guess is the question. Maybe chasing isn't the right word. But do you want a bunch of people that push subscribers, or people who support you through paid memberships? Feels icky saying it that way, so I kind of leave it at that. But here's another thing about paid entrepreneurs. I work a 9 to 5. I'm in a PhD program. I have Crazy Old Man and WordCraft Shots, plus this podcast, and then you add in notes and chat board and, all the other thingies that go on with this. And you would think, and don't worry, because, I'm sure a lot of you kind of thinking, man, you don't have any time for your favorite watering hole. But I do. It's just once a week now instead of every fucking freaking day. And I say all that to say this, I say all that to say at this time, right, that at my 9 to 5, I make X amount in an hour after insurance, taxes, and retirement comes out. And it's enough to live on, at least Crazy Old Man style. I don't need a lot of things, and I paid a whole bunch of shit off, so I'm good. But I know this dude who is younger than me, and he, like, a lot younger than me, like 20, 30 years younger than me, and he literally charges like $5,000 an hour just to speak to him. An hour. Now, of course, I think all you son of a bitches out there right now should drop me $1,000 just for sitting there and listening to my ass. But really, it comes back to, what do you think you're worth? I think that's the element we need to work through, man, as we get older and we go through this, right? And it's different for all of us. But it's definitely something to kind of work through. When I was younger, I would show my dick on the side of the street for $5. Now I won't even get out of bed unless it's a minimum of, $50, $75 an hour, right? It's all perspective. So when we set out to be entrepreneurs, what do you consider being an entrepreneur is? And only you can answer that, right? What are you trying to accomplish? What is the end goal, right? I also wanted to touch on something I see young bucks are great at that old fucks may not be so great at, and that's pivoting, speed of movement. I'm not talking about track here. We're not running the 100-yard dash. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about speed in business. One thing I see all the time from these young fuckers is that they make a lot of money and they move fast, they fail fast, they restart, they pivot fast, and they keep recycling until something hits. They're really great at it. My old ass growing up, I'd spend a year at WordPress blog chugging away to see if I could get 50 people in a month to do a drive-by just to look at my blog. Fuck that shit. Well, now at least. And I knew I had something in Crazy Old Man within the first 10 posts. I had a paying member. I knew something was there. And I knew there was something with WordCraft Shots, even with only 1 member. But he's a paying member, and I love him to death. And the other thing, I don't know him, but you get the picture. The other thing, I'm pivoting and moving. I was learning from a young dude again. And he had done something incredible, and this got me to thinking. Or at least, let's be honest. It kind of opened a door that blew some dust into the wetware that had been sitting there for a while. It was like, hey, remember you were thinking about this? And the thing I was thinking about was apps. What? Apps. Yes, fucking apps. Not ass, apps. A-P-P-S, I think is how you spell it. And I'm always late to the party, man. I literally thought when Amazon started, this actually came out of my dumb ass mouth. I actually said this. I could do that. I can sell books online. Fuck yeah, you got a competitor now. No, they don't. They were so much smarter than I. Now I look at them and I'm like, I'm buying all their shit. But yes, apps. I can hear it now. Do you know how to code? Nope. Do you even know where to put an app after it's created? Nope. Do you know anything about apps other than going to the store on your phone and downloading one? That's all I know about apps. So you know what my dumb ass did? I built 2 of them. Yep. One of them, I'm not sure what to do with other than package it in some deal or something. I just like it and it works really well and I use it all the time. The second will start off low, like $10 a month or single purchase option, something like that, kind of like a pay to play kind of deal. And the reason that it costs money is because it costs me money to fucking run it. But it's super fucking cool, man. I mean, I put a lot of fucking work into the second one. And it's a design it's in design as we speak. And if you ask me real nice, I'll show it to you. Except for, never mind, we're not live, so you can't ask me shit. So fuck off. No. So I launch it in Crazy Old Man chat first. That's what I'm going to do. And the first one I did, it's already in the chat because there's only 3 people that actually ever look at my chat. And so there's only 3 people that know about it. And I probably need to go back and look at it because I learned a whole lot of building app stuff in the second one that I'm creating right now. Probably could make some cool changes to it. But that's pivoting and moving, right? I didn't wait until I knew. Either with WordCraft shots or building apps, even Crazy Old Man, I have zero clue if any of them will turn out anything. Shit, I literally pivot during the design phases. And all these things I had very large scope. I had a very large scope of what I wanted to do, and then I pivoted. I screwed shit up. I made mistakes. I learned from them. I adjusted and then went to banging away again. I mean, come on, guys. We're not building rockets here, right? And shit, the young fuck who did build these rockets is about to own a piece of the $1 billion land grab going on above our fucking heads right now. Check out that article on Crazy Old Man. One of the worst performing articles I've had ever, and yet one of the ones I loved writing the most. Go figure. But that motherfucker, man, built them. Then he jumped on them. No, literally jumped on the fucking rocket, lit the fucking candle, and went blowing down the fucking street on it to test it out. A fucking rocket. Hey, Crazy Old Man, do you want to test out this app? Yeah, sure. What do you want to do? Well, you got to climb on it. We're going to light it and blow your ass down the street and see if it fucking works. Hell no, I ain't doing that shit. What of us? Us shit bags, we're just typing and sitting in front of a camera that no one will ever see or hear or read. I can do that. I know. This has been the worst podcast known to man. I get it. No real direction, just rambling on. But here's the last thing I hope, and I know you're praying that it is. My brother, God rest his soul, told me this when I was starting out with my business so many moons ago. He said, and this was before I had major contracts, all the employees and money coming in. He said, even when it's raining and no one is in the field, always be reinvesting into your business, even if it's changing a tire that needs to be changed. So let me leave you with this. If you're in the game, if you're thinking about the game, if you're jacking off to a dream, whatever it is that you're doing, always be moving forward towards that dream. Because listen, there's always a tire that needs to be changed, right? And the more times you change that fucking tire, before you know it, that piece of shit truck might be motoring down the road, having you wishing you checked the fucking brakes. That's it, my fair weather friends and fans all across this land. Look, I see you. I see the one of you. I see you sitting out there. This is Crazy Old Man, and don't forget to subscribe, like, restack, share, and perhaps all the above, because it really does help our tribe find new people, bring into this crazy thing we call Crazy Old Man. But till next time, stay crazy, my friends. Stay crazy.